Hello, everyone. This is Eric from Etiquette back for another live stream on this Sunday night for me and 1 p.m. GMT. Hi. Let me take this away first. My name is Eric, and if you have any questions about teaching, especially English teaching, please put your comments put your question in the comments. And if you just want to say hi, if it's your first time or if you're there, just put your name in the comments and where you're from. So, today we've got a very special live stream. We've got a teacher joining us because I'm sure you guys are already so tired of my old face. So I asked the teacher to join us for a live stream. But before we do that, let's wait a couple of minutes and wait for everyone to join us. And in the meantime, we've already got two people here. We've got Amit. Namaste, Mr. Eric from India. He's got a question. I'm going to get to that now. And then we've got Bahare. Hi, Bahare. How are you doing? And Sam is here too. Sam Anwar. Hi, Sam. And Luza Ang. Buenos dias. Morning all. Luza Ang, good morning. I hope you're having a lovely morning in Colombia. And then Amit, good evening, sir, from India. Okay, Amit, I'm going to get to your question first. And I feel like I always just bring up the same answers. So if you guys get tired of my answers, just let me know. But let's start off strong. Amit says here, Namaste, Mr. Eric from India. When we do an activity in the class with a couple of students, the others get bored, but not everyone can speak at the same time. How can we get everyone involved? Now, this is a big problem with teaching where you've got a large class of students and you want to get feedback from the students. You want them to perform in class. And, if the other students aren't, they're not paying attention, at some point they're going to get bored and they're going to get into mischief. So what you want to do is, yes, you don't want to do group activities where the students role play or have discussions with each other. Then when you take feedback, not every student will get an opportunity after an activity. So what I do is, let's say you've got 20 students, you break them up into pairs. That means there's going to be 10 pairs. After whatever activity you give them, randomly ask the students to do it for the class or ask the students to do it with their partner. That way, it keeps the students on notice. It means that, the teacher might ask me, I've got to wait. You can also I also let my students play games with each other, something simple like rock, paper, scissors to decide, and then they get picked. Now, the thing is, you don't want to let all the students give feedback. Let's say you've got an activity and two groups give feedback. And then immediately you can start asking the other students questions too. So what did this student say? It keeps them on their toes. That means that they've got to remain focused. Then you want to use many activities, not just one. You want to have an activity feedback with different students. That way, the students know that they're constantly busy and they've got to focus. I'm sure there are some other answers that teachers have. I just feel like for myself, by keeping the students engaged and breaking down those periods of inactivity, it's way easier to control them. Otherwise, it's just too much time for them to focus on everyone getting a chance. I hope that makes sense, Amit. This is good to have you kept the comments open so teachers can come and share their experiences before the live chats. Yeah, guys, a couple of minutes, maybe 10 minutes before the live chat starts, you can go onto YouTube and you can leave a comment. Okay, let's see who's here before we carry on. I see everyone's here. Guys, by the way, we've got a great stream with you. We've got Janet joining us from English Era, and I put a link to a channel in the description below. But let's first see who's here. Luza Ang is here. Aso, hi dear teacher. Hi Aso. Steve, greetings from Japan. Hi Steve, lovely to have you. Aso, how can I improve my English? Using it more. Taking in, studying, working with others, especially focus on your speaking and with your understanding. If you can find an online teacher, that's great. Or a study group, other students who also want to work at it. And my dad is here. He says, hi, teachers from the sunny Cape. So Fahine, which way of teaching grammar do you prefer, inductively or deductively? Both. Now, what does inductive grammar teaching mean? It just means that the way that you teach the students, do you give them the example first and then they learn the rule from that? Or do you give them the rule and then you give them examples to practice? A long time ago, I would have told you I like to give the students the rule and then we go over some things, right? But I've found naturally while you're teaching, sometimes one works and then the others. There's no right answer. There's just the best answer for what you have at the moment. Natalia, hi everyone. Hi, Natalia. Negan, hi, and lovely heart eyes. Ganit, hi Eric. This is Ganit from Japan teaching the International Elementary School. I've been watching your videos, however, watching live for the first time. Welcome, Ganit. It's lovely to have new viewers here. I'm quickly going to say hello to everyone and then I will introduce our teacher for today. Rashid, hi teacher. Carter, I like that smile. And then Galina, hi Galina. Miss J, yeah, Galina, you left a comment on, well, is it Belarus, the Teachers Day? I can't exactly remember. Miss J, Anzina, good evening, Eric. I hope your legs are fine. My legs are doing great. By the way, guys, if I look very red, I went hiking today. It was really tough. And I came back, had to drive 2.5 hours to get home, took a shower, and now I'm here. And then we've got Kavan from Cambodia. Hi, Kavan. And then Martin. Good morning, everyone. Evening from where you are. I hope you're having a lovely time. Okay. By the way, guys, tomorrow, Martin from ELT Experiences is having his own live stream. I'm going to be there to support him. And if you want to see another live stream tomorrow, same time as mine, please go and support him. Boni-esther, good morning, all. I'm so slow to go through everything. I'm going to get there now. James, love this video so much. James, I love you too, 100%. Miss J, I'm a teacher, but I have a big problem correcting them. Advice, please, without making them feel bad. Okay. Now, it's Galina. It's today. Today is Teachers Day. Congratulations. Happy Teachers Day. Okay, everyone. Now, I've waited long enough. Let me introduce the teacher for our live stream today, and it is Janet. Hi, Janet.
Oh, I'm on mute. Yeah, there we go. Hi. Good
Janet,
morning, good
how are you doing
afternoon.
today?
I'm pretty good. My day is going swimmingly.
Swimmingly, perfect.
Yeah.
So, we spoke a while ago, and I did an interview on your channel. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Janet and I'm originally from the Philippines, but I'm currently here in Turkey. I'm based here in Turkey and I'm teaching English right now. And yeah, I create contents for my YouTube channel called English Shara and where I teach functional English there. And I'm a TESOL certified teacher, and I also teach IELTS. So I train test takers for the IELTS test. I've been teaching for like almost 8 years now, and I'm loving it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a lot of questions for you, especially about IELTS. Now, most of the viewers that have been here a few times, I'll always say it. Guys, if you have any difficult questions about English teaching, please give it to me and we will give it to Janet. Make it very difficult.
Okay.
I'm only kidding. But let me quickly ask. So, how did you end up in Turkey?
I ended up here because I actually got married to my Turkish husband. But before
Congratulations.
that, it's thank you so much. But before that, actually, we're only just planning to stay here for vacation. I was originally teaching in China at that time. Yes, I had a company there, and I was in a training center. I used to teach in China, and I came here in Turkey, January 2020, and that's the time that it was Chinese New Year last year. And so what happened was like unexpected because, like, we are supposed to go back to China, but then turns out that they had to quarantine the entire place. So we didn't have any chance to go back. And I was actually living in Wuhan, the
Ooh.
epicenter of the COVID. So like there was no chance at all. So I am loving staying here right now.
I
Yeah.
heard many great things about Turkey, and I'll ask you. Some of our viewers are also from
All
Turkey.
right.
Well, let's get to the point. We've got a question here from Miss J. She says, "I'm a teacher, but I have a big problem correcting my students. Can you give advice, please? I don't want to make them feel bad." Now, this is a very interesting question because obviously, as teachers, we need to build our students' confidence, but we also need to correct them. So, do you have
Right.
any advice for that?
Personally, I do two things in my classes to correct my students without offending them or so. One is I do sort of like echoing, when they say they was there. Oh, they was there?
Mm,
Oh, they were there. So they could realize their mistakes,
mm,
without you telling them directly what the mistake is, like explicit, you
mm,
know. And another thing that I do is I let the students talk and I spot some errors. And
mm.
after the student talks, and it's a time that, oh, you mentioned that this grammar point. So this is a better way to say that, you know?
Mm.
There could be a better way to say that. Why
I,
don't you
I,
try this? Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I love exactly what you say. Often there are some things that certain students, like there are mistakes Korean students make.
Right.
And like what you said, there is a better way of saying it. I often go to my students and I say, listen, guys, most students make this mistake. So if you can fix this little mistake, or if you can do this better way, you will stand out from your peers, right?
Right.
And that encourages the students to do better, and they feel like, oh, the teacher's trying to help me in a better way, instead of trying
Right.
telling me I'm wrong.
Yes, exactly. And you don't just like do upright corrections. There are times that when the students talk and you do upright corrections, they get to be like interrupted and they don't know what to say anymore because they get to be distracted. So, basically, what I do is I let the student finish and then I let them realize that there can be better ways to say some mistakes rather than spotting them,
Right.
and telling them that this is wrong. So
Yeah.
that what you said,
I,
it's really makes sense.
I feel we can have a whole live stream just about correcting errors, but I think the
Right.
most important thing is that, and we always say this, is that you have to build a relationship with your students.
Mm-hmm.
If your students know that you're coming from a place of trying to help them and trying to assist them, and you're not, you building this relationship with them, they will understand that, oh, the teacher's helping me improve. They're not here to break me down. Yes. And then the other
Right.
thing is you want to work on their confidence. I'm constantly complimenting my students. I'm saying, so even if they make a mistake, I'm going to focus on the positives. I'm going to say, well, great delivery, or I like the fact that you said it this way. But here's the one thing you can do. So
Right.
I call it
Constructive.
the sandwich method. Start with a compliment,
Mm-hmm.
fix it, and then end with
And did it.
some more encouragement.
That's really
Okay.
nice. Yeah,
So
just one thing
mm,
I can recommend one book. It's from Scott Thornbury. It's called How to Teach Grammar. Inside that book, there are like tons of ways to correct your students. So you may want to check that out.
Yeah, please put it in the so you can put it in the comments
Mm-hmm.
while I go through. Yeah, so you can type it in
Okay.
the comments. Check out this book. I also feel like there are so many books that I would like to see.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm so sorry if we're going slowly through the comments. Today is more about the interview, getting to know Janet. So if I'm a little bit late to the comments, I apologize. Galina said it's Teachers Day today. Now,
Happy
Ganit
Teachers
says
Day. Mm-hmm.
he says, I'm currently in my second year teaching ESL to Japanese learners. I have a keen interest in IB teaching, but somehow feel less confident to step in that. Now, I'm not going to focus on this specific question, but as English teachers, having to step in front of a classroom and teach something new. it can be scary because maybe you don't feel qualified to teach something. Has that ever happened to you where you suddenly had to teach something new? For me, like the IELTS that you're teaching,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like perhaps I'm not ready to do that. So how would you deal with that needing the confidence, learning or teaching something new?
I really, really study a lot with the was that the lesson that I'm gonna give. I really focus on that, and I check possible questions that students
Mm,
might ask.
mm,
So if student will ask this, at least I know what to answer, like that. That's basically what I do, and I really immerse myself with some materials about
mm.
teaching IELTS. So there, and I
Per-
attend trainings.
Perfect. I feel like so often most of the advice I give has to do with teacher confidence and just pushing them to do it. But the fact is that the better prepared you are for any eventuality, the better teacher you are. So, for
Right.
example, in that case, you're preparing for any questions the students might have, and every
Right.
time you prepare for that lesson you have to do next, and you feel confident that, let's say an activity doesn't work out, you have a backup activity. Let's say a way that you explain something, perhaps find another example to explain it with. So very important to be prepared. Okay,
Right.
tell us a bit about your channel. So why did you start your channel and what do you hope to do with your channel?
Yeah, basically, I started my channel because we were under quarantine, and like I got to find some things that would make me feel more productive, like that. And at the same time, I could use my skills in teaching. So I said, why won't I just um, open a YouTube channel, and it's called English Era. Yeah, I teach English and how to use it like in real life. It's not like the typical lessons that you see on YouTube. I was actually aiming to show how to use some grammar forms in real life, like how to let's say answer a Miss Universe question using if conditionals,
Hmm.
something like that. It's
Fun.
actually fun. Yeah, it is really fun.
Yeah, I mean that's a great way. So you've got this example of the Miss Universe, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
fun idea, and the students also recognize that, wow, these people have to answer these questions. It's something I can really use in life, and they
Right.
maybe they imagine themselves too. If I stood on stage and somebody asked me this question, how can I answer that? So it's very valuable for them to learn it
Right.
that way. If I just told my students, okay, if
Mm-hmm.
they might get bored and think, I'm never going to use this. Now you give them an example, they're like, yeah, I might be Miss Universe someday. I need to start
Right.
practicing.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Okay, first, I want to say that Martin says that it's an hour earlier. So, Martin has a live stream tomorrow and it's going to start an hour earlier than my live stream. So, guys, go and check it out. Martin, I'll be there. And then we've got a question from Steve, and he says, my only question for today: how do you help your students unearth and recognize their intrinsic motivation? Looking forward to your streaming. Okay, so intrinsic motivation, very important. What can you say about that?
It all depends where it comes from, actually.
Hmm,
Yes, a lot of students have their um, different things to deal with.
hmm,
And it's not easy as teachers to just teach there, sit or stand, and just, deliver the lesson if the students are not motivated.
hmm,
Yeah. My thoughts on that actually is to um, do some engaging activities.
hmm.
Yeah,
I,
engaging activities that can, you know, um, what do you call it? Stimulate the students' attention.
Wow, what a
Yeah.
great word. Stimulate attention. I love that. Yeah, I think the main thing is, when you're teaching the students, you want to provide value to them.
Right.
You want to teach them. And with younger students, you're going to teach them by making learning fun,
Yes.
and engaging and stimulating. With all the students, you want to start letting them think about, if you learn these skills, how can they be transferred to your real life, and how can they improve your life? So with the students, because you're teaching them in class, and I get my students to do all kinds of role plays and have fun in class. But those things that they are learning, I hammer down that these skills that you're learning are so important, not just for your normal everyday life, but if you wanted to travel, for your job, and also just for you to be a better person. So intrinsic motivation, yes, we've got to make it important to the students, relatable, and yeah, so it's and stimulating. Very good. Okay, so I just want to go down here. Martin has a. Before I go to Martin, I saw that Cheryl said, "Hello, Eric and my Kababayan Filipino."
Yeah, my fellow Filipino.
Excellent. This is Cheryl. She's also on a lot. Thank you, Cheryl. Now, Martin has a good question, as he always does. What challenges have you faced teaching in Turkey?
um Not pretty much a lot, but mainly about students making the same mistakes, and it becomes fossilized, and it's not easy to correct at all
Mm,
because their pattern, the pattern of their language is totally different from English,
mm,
and the words that they use in their language, like one word in English, and they use it in three words like that. So basically, they have a hard time acquiring words and retaining it.
mm,
At the same time, the grammar form, it it's really hard, yeah,
mm,
to let them realize that this is how you say it in English. So it's like, because in Turkey, like their basic form is subject, object, verb, like that.
mm,
It's not the same like in English, like subject, verb, object.
mm,
And they have like suffixes, like they're obsessed with suffixes. So like challenging part is how could you let them speak the language, and realizing at the same time that the fossilized errors that they are making
mm,
doesn't help in their growth in the language. Probably that's one of the biggest challenge that I'm facing, because like I need to
mm.
try like plan A, plan B, what works for this student, what works for this, something like that. So it's really challenging.
Well,
Yeah.
Janet, I'm very impressed because I think a lot of teachers go out and they think, "Oh man, my job sucks for some reason. It's very difficult. I've got this challenge." But the fact is, because you went to China, you taught there, you got to know the
Mm-hmm.
students and the way to teach, and now suddenly you're in Turkey, and now you've got to teach this whole new set of students,
Right.
and now you've got to find different ways of reaching them.
Mm-hmm.
I've been teaching for years in Korea, so I have an understanding of how to work with Korean students. But because you have to learn these new skills, you're going to be a much better teacher in a couple of months' time. So many of us might think, oh well, it sucks, you're having a difficult time now, but I just see the amount of growth that you will make as a professional because of these challenges. It's going to be amazing.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. This is a nice one. ANZ Zin. Glad to see you, sir. I'm from Myanmar. Your video icebreaker activities is really amazing. Thank you so much. What are the other activities in teaching English skills?
Activities in teaching English
Mm,
skills. It depends on what skill you're teaching.
mm,
If you're teaching speaking, you might have there are tons actually of speaking activities you can do. We probably want to have a game, message relay,
mm,
when they can relay messages, like a sort of a statement. It could
mm,
also activate listening, whether the student's listening is active like that, and
mm.
the student can retain the message. So you're doing two skills, like speaking
Yeah.
and listening at the same time,
Exactly.
right?
You want to integrate different skills into your activities.
Mm-hmm.
You think you might just be doing a flashcard game, but that could be a reading that will help their reading. It can also, help them engage with the language. But one of the questions I have, so I'm talking about professional development. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I just teach English to help the students communicate better. So for me, it's important to get them to speak and to engage with the language. But then, when it comes to something like teaching writing or teaching IELTS or something like that, I don't have that much experience, which is difficult. So, how would you go? How do you go about teaching something like IELTS, where you prepare them for a specific test? That's a question from me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because basically, yeah, right. IELTS is actually a testing of like four skills. They test your reading, speaking, listening, and writing. And the thing is, IELTS is more on like topical,
Mm,
like that. If your topic is about reading, you teach them strategies, you teach
right.
them methods, rather than like skills like skimming, scanning,
Mm,
close reading. Those are like basics, like standard reading skills already. But going through like questions like multiple choice questions, or
mm,
even like for listening, let's say, how can you teach them a skill called prediction? How can you teach them a skill called spelling? They're like micro skills inside each skill. And those micro skills are actually what we spot when teaching IELTS. Because students know how to read, they can understand what they listen to, they can speak, and they can even write. But the thing is how to make it better with those macro skills. Like, let's say there's a student who wants to improve writing, and the student writes an essay, and the structure is not the essay structure that because in the IELTS there are lots of structures in the essay, so you have to teach them one by one. It's not just a introduction, body, conclusion. It's not just that.
mm,
There's beyond that. So basically, in the IELTS, we teach um, the inside skills for each
mm.
macro skills, like sub skills, like that.
Perfect. Yeah, I find it fascinating to learn some of these new skills. So I'd love to look at it and try and learn a
Hmm.
little bit more. I'm going to go through
Yeah.
the comments a little bit.
Okay.
Teodoro says, "Wow, so beautiful. Thank you. That is meant for me, 100%." Um, good morning from Mexico, up Acapulco, Teodoro. Thank you. Letty is there here. She says yes, correct by it. Mariette, hello, Eric. Happy to see. And hello to our new friend. Hi, Janet. From Vietnam. Hi, Nguyen. Hello to our new friend. Miss J says she loves it. No problem. Enjoying the show. Is Galina. This is a good question. Galina, what does your ordinary lesson plan look like? What items do you include in it apart from the aim, task, and certain exercises? Now, this is a question that comes up a lot, and for
Mm-hmm.
myself, when I first started teaching in South Africa at public school, I had to create a lot of lesson plans. Even but recently it's not that necessary. But what about you? Do you make a lot of lesson plans?
These days, not really, cause like you
Mm,
base things on the book, and books have ESL books have like a teacher's books, and then they have like instructions for teachers already,
yeah.
right? But for like I have one class that um I don't follow a book, but I usually just follow some activities or like topics.
Mm,
Basically, I ask myself, what is the objective of the
mm,
lesson? What do you want the student to achieve after the lesson?
mm.
So yes, the aim, the objective, that's part of it. And what
Yeah.
is the target skill that you're gonna
Focus on.
focus on? Yeah, the target skill, we need that. What are the kinds of tasks we do? It could have like a pre-task to stimulate the schema or the
Mm.
prior knowledge of the student, or and the post task to see whether the student understand the middle task, something
And
like that.
achieve the objectives. Yeah.
Right,
But it's
exactly.
interesting, Galina. I feel like with so many lesson plans, it we shouldn't overcomplicate things. I remember when I had to make lesson plans, they asked so much. I think it should be it should be more practical, I believe, the way that we make lesson plans. Yes, have your
Right.
objective in there. Yes, and in some cases, you've got to look at some of the core the core fundamentals. What is it called again? That you have to find. You're going to put in the activities you're going to use, your resources, what you need to accomplish it. But I wouldn't overcomplicate it. Like I said, I would add extras if so, for example, like you said, we want to test them at the end to make sure that they've achieved those goals that we had for the lesson, the aims. But or also we can add some additional activities. Also, you should also look. I think not all students are the same. So you can perhaps have a part where if students struggle with the activity, that there is a different way for them to achieve the goal. So you can have perhaps a part about differentiating. How could you differentiate or make the
Right.
lesson more accessible to all the students? I think that's something that I would add. Basically, the only reason I would have a lesson plan is for me to understand exactly what I need to do in the classroom, and also some backup plans to help do that. So
Right.
yeah, have your goals, the activities, have some way that you can differentiate the lesson to suit all the students, and then have a way to test the students to make sure that they've achieved those objectives. Anything you want to add?
Right. I love that differentiation because
Mm,
not all students have the same level. And
mm,
you at least need to have like backup activities. Some
mm,
students are very fast, some are really slow. So,
mm.
you need to at least have a backup. Yeah.
Okay. What age are your students, Janet?
Actually, some of them are adults, some of them
Mm,
are kids.
mm.
So, yeah, mixed.
Okay. Well, Ganit has a question. He says, I want to teach English through songs. Do you have any recommendations for elementary kiddos?
Okay. There are actually lots on
Mm.
YouTube, and you can just choose which topic you want to teach.
And
And
level? Mm,
yeah, level, topic. If your topic is about the use of can for abilities, there are tons. Like I can swim, I can dance. There are tons of songs there. You
mm,
can also do some actions.
mm,
Elementary students or like younger ones, they
mm.
love moving. So
Mm.
more on TPR, total physical response.
Well, it's funny you bring this up, but now I told you guys about this before. I've been talking about this alphabet chant. I found this
Mm-hmm.
alphabet song on YouTube. It's got 50 million views, and what I did, and then I saw another video. It was this random video on Facebook of a teacher teaching the students to do TPR to each, so to create a chant with that song. A is for apple, apple.
Yeah.
B is for ball. And so I looked at it and I thought, okay, time to make a video. And I shot the video last week. So it's going to be me singing and doing the motions, and you can watch it and then teach those to your students and they can have fun. That's just for the alphabet. But like you said, there are so many great songs. And you know what? Eric Carl, how do you say his surname again? Eric Carl, I think it's guys, you're gonna hate me. How do I say that again?
Okay.
Eric, what's his name? Anyway, there are so many great uh, books for kids that were written, and they've been put onto YouTube. So there are many channels for that, specifically for
Mm-hmm.
teaching kids. And you just go in, search on YouTube, find something that you think is the appropriate level for the students, and also something catchy, something that they can move to, like you said.
I
I think
have
it's very
one.
important.
I saw one Instagram account, and she's
Yeah.
a Turkish teacher. She's also
Mm.
teaching English for kids. She is getting a -1 of some pop songs, like
Yeah.
modern songs, and then
Mm.
she incorporates it to her English classes. Like,
Nice.
she's doing it like with actions. She's gonna find a song, and then she's gonna get an instrumental of that,
Mm.
and she's gonna incorporate some expressions like open the book or close the book. With that the instrumental, and I found it creative,
Mm.
to teach English that way. And it at the same time, these days, people are more on pop music, so
Mm.
probably these kids are familiar with the song.
That's a fantastic. I mean, I'm so slow with social media, actually. But the kids are getting so used to TikTok and doing these things, and please send that to me. I'll share it with the audience when I get it during the week,
All right,
because
sure.
yeah, if we can bring in these things that students are really interested in, it'll make teaching so much easier, it'll make it fun. Also, it's also something that is constantly changing, so we can also adapt our lessons to these new songs that come out that the
Right.
students like. And
Yeah.
also, it's already, teaching is all about creating connections. So if you can create connections using these songs, and also the artist, maybe it's Justin Bieber singing, and you're like, who's this? And they're like, oh yeah, it's this song. Like, do you know the song? This is the rhythm, and these are some of the lyrics that you can use, and let's make a small dance with it. And it's going to really get the students invested in that class. That's a great idea. I'll
Right.
definitely share it with the audience. Okay. Is there anything you want to talk about before we carry on? Is there any topics that you wanted to bring up, or you want to anything you're doing on your channel at the moment that you want to talk about?
Basically, what I'm actually looking forward to my channel right now is how to make it even more engaging to my viewers.
Mm,
Yeah, and yeah, just like what I've said a while ago, using some um, grammar patterns in a more
nice.
functional way. Yeah,
I
basically.
appreciate that. So
Yeah.
just sharing some ideas that work with teachers, I
Mhm.
think that's fantastic. That's exactly
Mhm.
why I started my channel, is just to, well, let's share some activities or some things to do. Now
Right.
we've got a really good question here, and it's difficult, so I'm just going to give it to you. Um, I want to know how to do tasks like speeches, role plays, and debates. Have you taught any of those before?
Speech, yes. I
Uh,
remember like there's one debate that I also used to
yeah.
teach. Yeah. I want to keep how to give a class based on tests like speech. So it's more on speaking,
Mm.
right?
How would you? Well, I think this is almost. I'm not a chef, so I have no idea. But
Uh-huh.
I love my viewers asked me before what's one of my favorite TV shows, and my favorite TV show of all time is called Master Chef's The Professionals. It's only in
Mm-hmm.
English. It's in Britain. It's not normal Master Chef. This is for professionals, and they've
All
got a
right.
saying on there. They say you should think with your chef's brain. So they say, okay, these are the ingredients. Use your chef brain, because you've got all this experience cooking. Now, when we give you the ingredients, use your chef's brain to build a meal. And I think coming back to teaching, it should be the same. When a teacher gets a certain amount of experience, they've had experience teaching different things in different ways. And even if something new comes up, a new topic or a new activity, suddenly we start thinking, okay, what do we can work? What can work with the students? In that case, we have to use our teachers' brains. And that's what
Right.
I like hearing these questions, like, how would you teach a speech? How would you teach a role play? How would you teach a debate? Now, for speech, how do you prepare your students for a speech, for example?
Basically like structures of what they're going to say, like
Mm, mm,
choosing a topic that can be catchy to the
mm,
listeners, and gather some information about it. Like if you chose a topic, let's say about social media, you have to read about it. You have to um, get some articles about that and immerse
mm,
yourself in it. Because maybe after your speech, someone might ask you something like that. So, getting ready for it. And
mm,
yeah, how to make the speech better, like using some catchy introductions, how
mm,
to organize ideas,
mm.
something like that, and outlining
See,
ourselves.
I love having you here, so I can give the question to you and give myself some time to think of another answer. I love this. It's very mean, but thank you so much. I think with speeches, exactly what you
Mm-hmm.
were saying, when you started talking about helping the students with structure, I was like, yes. What you want to do is you want to teach your students structure, whatever structure you want them to learn, so
Mhm.
that they know this is how I do it. You're teaching them how to do something, not what to do
Mhm.
something. So you're teaching them how to do the introduction, the body, the conclusion. You're also going to give them examples so that they
Right.
see, okay, well, this is an example of a good speech. And you can give them examples of a bad speech. Why is it
Right.
bad?
That's
You
good.
can also go into some more skills like basic presenting skills. You can go into how to create a better PPT. You can go into choosing things. I think what's important that you also mentioned is the topic. Now, many teachers make the awful mistake. They think, you know what? I don't want to pigeonhole my students. I don't want to give them something too, I don't want to give them something too specific. And they say, oh, just do anything.
Mhm.
People cannot function. We cannot think of something if we make the goal too big. We need to focus
Mhm.
them in. So if you give a topic, make it something not too specific, but I would say make it something that they can make their own. It gives them freedom to act and to do something different. If you say to them, okay, well, I want you to create, let's say, I want you to focus on a specific sport that you enjoy, or
Right.
in that case, the students will have different answers, perhaps, and
Mhm.
also if you can make it about something where it can be about the student. So let's say you don't want to do a speech about food, but you can say, okay, if you had to create the school menu for food
Mhm.
to be healthy and tasty, how would you create the menu? So basically
Mhm.
it opens it up for them, but it is a specific topic. It opens it up, and it also allows the students to bring their own personality and their own answer into it.
Right.
And yeah, did you want to add something?
Yeah, there's more on speech, not just about the what are you going to say, what's the
Hmm.
topic, the structure, and all. And actually, it's more on students' confidence.
Hmm.
It's more on the inside, how
Hmm.
the student can stand in front of the class without
Hmm.
being anxious, without
Hmm.
feeling nervous. Sometimes it's not easy. It's easy to teach the what are they going to say, but once they are in that moment, it's not
Hmm.
easy to like voice out easily.
Hmm.
So I think body language is also one thing
Hmm.
to teach when it comes to giving speeches,
Hmm.
and facial expressions as well.
Well, another thing with activities is you want to
Mm-hmm.
segment it. You don't want to tell them, okay, do the whole thing. So, what I
Right.
like to do with speeches or with any of these activities, instead of having them memorize or do the whole thing, I would say, okay, guys, instead of doing a full speech, I want you to do a mini speech, right? Do a
Mm-hmm.
mini speech. It's going to be 3 sentences long. Now, the students come out, they have to do an introduction, and you give them a simple topic like, you know, who's your favorite Marvel character? And I want you to say it in give me 3 reasons why. And then you're going to give them the structure. Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about my favorite character. And then you tell them, okay, pick 3 things that you like, one thing they did, one thing that they look like, one thing that you enjoy about them. And then at the end, in your conclusion, you're going to say, thank you for listening. Oh, my favorite Marvel character is Thor. Thank you for listening. Goodbye. So now the students know exactly what to say. They know what the structure is. They've got they're going to do a mini activity, and now you say, okay, well, this is so easy. They feel like this is so easy, and now you say, okay, now I want you to do the same thing, but I want you to make it longer to make the speech, or I want you to next I want you to add some slides to it.
All
When
right.
it comes to body language and speaking out loud, what I was just thinking is getting the students to do it in class, because so often we as teachers, we explain things to the students and we
Mm-mm.
just assume they're going to understand. Instead, okay, go to the back of class, and I want you to, from the back of class, far away, I want you to tell me, what you had for dinner yesterday. And the student, you pick a shy student that doesn't speak
Mm-hmm.
very loud, and they go to the back of the room. I'm like, I can't hear you, louder, louder. And then you say, okay, this is the example. Once they scream it out, you're like, this is what I want. I want you to speak loudly. Did anything bad happen to you? Were you nervous?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, no, I just said it out loud.
Right.
That's what you're going to do.
Right. Yes, and I couldn't agree more because it's more on students' interests. They are familiar with the topic, and they could be confident enough to talk about it because they're already familiar, and it's more on like personalized, you
Mm.
know, than giving them a specific topic.
Yeah. Oh, well, obviously, sometimes we do have to give them specific topics,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, just get your students to practice. Try and get them to get it to do it from their point of view, and that's important. Everyone, I just want to apologize. We are having a lovely chat, and I'm not going through the comments that quickly. I hope you all understand, but we've got Paul here. By the way, Paul has a I think it's teacher Paul. Paul, I think it's you, right? So Paul has a channel, and I will have him on to chat in a couple of weeks. I really here we go. Here's Paul now. So Paul, check out his channel, Hard Boiled English with Teacher Paul. I'll have him on in a couple of weeks. Also, fantastic teacher. It's so nice that all of us can get together and chat. My mom is here. Great interview, Tudora. I asked them their interest, and then I tried to figure out how to do introductions. Um, Janet, can you believe that there's only 15 minutes left?
Yeah, actually, I didn't realize that.
Daniel is from Turkey and he sends his love. Guga's here. Guga's Baby Pigeon World, one of the best names out there. Fossilized errors, difficult to deal with. By the
Right.
way, with fossilized errors, how do you deal with repeated errors? Because for me, one of the if I encounter some problems a lot, and I sometimes I'm very strict on certain errors that my students make. Beforehand, I tell them, guys, I'm very easygoing, but I want you to fix it. So I'm very strict on certain errors, common mistakes that they make that they know beforehand. We've drilled it before. Do you have anything
Yeah.
like that?
Actually, I have a lot.
Yeah.
It's really common, yeah, for my Turkish students. I remember my Brazilian students. They always have the fossilized error, especially in pronunciation of the R and the H sounds. Let's say. So,
Mm,
what I do before we start the main course, like the course, I spot their errors. Okay, this is what we're gonna fix. So before you finish the course, you've already fixed them. But in the middle of that course, they always do the same mistakes. So what I do is I continuously do different activities and they won't realize that okay, teacher is correcting my error. Let's say they have hard time with R and H sound, like they
mm,
say recognize instead of recognize. So like in the first few days we're gonna do tongue twisters, and then next ones we're gonna do like a sort of rhymes that has R and H.
mm.
They won't realize that we're doing it for the sake
Right.
of their pronunciation,
Uh,
but they just sort of think, oh, it's an activity, it's part of the class,
I
something
like
like
that you're
that.
using different activities too,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just boring them and doing the same thing over and over
Right.
again. You're like using different activities to solve the same problem. And afterwards, they're like, wait, I just learned something. By the way, I'm going to go through these comments because I love everyone joining, but we do
Okay.
have a great question specifically for you. And it is from Lin Wang. Lin has joined again. Lin, lovely to have you. And she says, may I ask your experience in China? What kind of challenge did you encounter there, teacher Janet? While Janet's going
Um,
to answer, I'm going to go through and click on everything. I'm sorry if it takes away from the answer. Just focus on her while I click on stuff. Okay.
all right.
Janet, up to you.
Experience in China. I used to teach kids in China. I used to teach reading, speaking. I mainly teach phonics because Chinese students are actually accustomed to Chinese characters. So alphabets are really new to them. And yeah, I teach phonics. I teach how to read stories in English. I teach them how to answer questions in English because it's like a pretty brand new language to them. And so, one of the challenges that I actually face, one of the challenges really was like how to um explain that to them. Kids, they don't know the letters, they're not really familiar with them, and the phonics itself. So how could I do that? It's one of the biggest challenges I faced, but later on I got the hang of it. What I did was, okay, Chinese people are more on visual, they are more on, they can actually learn more through pictures, through body movements. So actually, it doesn't make sense to them if you talk and if you show them lots of words, like sight words, let's say, although it helps in reading. But when it comes to speaking, you don't just like say, how do you introduce yourself, or what's your name? They don't know how to answer that. Um, in the first place. So, how do you do that is by really doing actions. And that's
Mm,
what I actually learned there. And I actually learned a lot from your videos, Eric. When I was in China, I was like, okay, I was trained in TESOL, but
mm,
when I'm actually in that field, in that moment, I said, what kind of activities do I have to do? My students cannot understand me.
mm,
I'm talking in English, but they're like looking at me, like staring
mm,
blankly. So one of my the managers there said, whatever you say, they cannot understand you. So you have to move. You have to
mm,
show pictures. You have
mm.
to show videos. But they're
Mime.
more on
Yeah,
visuals.
yeah.
Yeah, they cannot appreciate the sentences that you're gonna put there because they will not understand and they will not read that. So
Mm,
basically, more on TPRs, more on
mm.
visuals.
And
Yeah,
flashcard, using
activities.
flashcards, getting them to learn phonics, and doing it in a fun, engaging way, especially for
Right.
with younger learners. So important to play those games.
Yes.
I still have to make the phonics video about how to teach phonics and those things. Yeah, it's so interesting. How did you were you always planning on going to China though?
Actually, if there's an opportunity, but I think now
No,
there's like new
originally. So
policies.
originally going from the
Originally,
Philippines to China, how did that
yes.
work?
When I was in the Philippines, first
Mm,
time to come to China. Yeah, actually, that's my initial plan to really
mm.
go there because I applied for some training centers there, and
Why China?
fortunately, China. It's because I think it would be easy for me to access it at the same time. Like I
Mm,
got interested about Chinese culture because there are like a lot of Chinese in the Philippines, so why won't
mm,
I see it with my two eyes? What
mm,
if it's the same as in the Philippines? But when I got in there, it's totally different. The
mm,
people, the food, the
mm.
atmosphere. So I also loved being there. Actually,
Yeah,
I was asking myself right now, why not Korea? Why not Japan?
yeah.
I also not sure. I actually also like interested to go to Korea, but then
Mm.
I think I got hired in China first, so I grabbed that opportunity.
It happens. I feel like every teacher that goes somewhere, we go where we're needed, and sometimes we just get pushed a certain direction. It's
Right.
it's not always just up to us. It's destiny, I guess. And guys,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm making lots of strange facial expressions, it's because I'm quite tired. I went on a very long hike, but I'm so happy to be here. And now I've got a question from Kev, and Kev has been giving me great ideas. So 100% we're going to answer Kev's question. Kev says, how to forget myself, how to stop being self conscious when speaking in public. Because I feel like a lot of teachers have this. Um, Perhaps before they go into the classroom, before they start teaching, they're very self-conscious. And then I was recently speaking to a teacher that said they are fine teaching, but when they have to do things in front of other adults or with other teachers, suddenly they get very nervous to speak in front of other people. Now you look like you seem very confident coming out here. I remember before we started the live chat, you were like, Eric, I don't care. I've never been nervous in my life. I can do this well. So So, do you have any tips for Kev on how to stop being self-conscious?
I think you have to and enjoy the time. You know, right now I'm enjoying the time. I'm
Mm,
not focusing on what I'm gonna say, or
mm,
I'm not focusing on what I'm feeling. If you focus much on I am anxious, I am nervous, it
mm,
will manifest. You
mm,
know, it you will really feel that. So instead of like I'm nervous, try to change it to I'm excited. You know, I'm excited to do this. This
mm.
is my moment to speak
Uh,
in public, like that. You know, like
mm.
it has something to do with your mind. That's why, right?
Yeah, I think you brought up two important things. The first one is perhaps, divert your attention.
Right,
We are so inwardly focused where we think everyone's looking at me, everyone's judging me, everyone's going to think a certain thing about me. And then everybody else thinks the same thing. They're just like, what's going on in my life? What, or are other people looking at me? And then, so when you go out there, perhaps put the emphasis on, um, the people out there, what you're going to be talking about, the
right.
message, so instead of
Mm-hmm.
thinking, oh, everyone's just looking at me, think about, oh, well, I've got the story that, if I don't tell it to everyone, they're going to lose out. Then they're not going to learn something new. I've
Right.
got this message. And another thing you said is about changing the way you view the world.
Mm-hmm.
The paradigm where you come from, where you say, instead of thinking, oh, you know what, I'm nervous, I'm anxious, you're like, wait, I think I'm excited, I've got something cool I want to say. Maybe I'm going to say something funny, people might smile. So
Right.
instead, focus on the positives of what can come from that opportunity to speak in front of people. So
Right.
yeah, I've got so many things that I talk about, that I tell my students. The main thing is, nothing bad can happen. And if we understand that, even if I say something very silly, or even if I make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Actually, only good things can come from this. I'm just gonna do my best. Maybe some one person in the audience might find it interesting, but nothing bad will happen. I think
Right.
it's important. Well, we've got 3 minutes left. Now,
Yes.
Luza Ang has some good. She says, talking about giving the students examples. It's Luza Ang said something else that was so important. I'm just going to go through here. Akasha said something. Theodora. Um, students using too much L1 in class. Do you have a problem with that?
None so far. Actually, I want
Mm,
to ask you about that because
mm.
someone asked me to. What do you think about using L1 in a foreign language classroom? Something like
Well,
that.
many teachers have many teachers believe strictly only English.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rule in the school or the class, only English, and I've used that too, and that's been fine. But recently, I've been more lenient, where I tell the students, well, you can use a little bit of Korean to help you to explain, but I remind them that the focus is always on English. So I think it's better for the students to get used to only speaking English. But if it helps the students, if you can explain something quickly, or if there's, instead of looking something up, maybe I can give them the Korean word and they're like, oh, okay, I understand. Now I know what it is and I can use it. So
Right.
it depends on the situation. But it is so easy for students to fall into that trap of just being comfortable and speaking their native language, that it doesn't help them. So you've got to constantly be wary of getting them to speak their native language. Yeah, I think very important. They've got to
Right.
step out of their comfort zone. They've got to know that that classroom is for learning English, and that's what they've got to do. Luza Ang said here, maybe you can ask the students to write the word next to it when they hear it. That's really good, using all the different skills. Flashcards, TPR. Okay, I think we're coming to the end of the live stream. Before we
Yeah.
finish, I want to give you a chance to talk about anything you want to talk about. You can talk about your channel or what you're going to do in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, sure. Yes, I'm teaching English on YouTube, and it's called the English Shara, and I teach English in a functional way, how to use it in a real life situation. And yeah, I just want to deviate to the normal teaching setup on YouTube. So like, why not try something different that
Mm,
student can get something out of it, and they can use it in real life situations. And I believe that that's how you teach English in a more functional way, because a lot of students right now are just um, learning English for exams, learning English to pass this quiz, to pass this test. But they don't appreciate, or they don't know when exactly to use or how to exactly use. And I got a lot of questions about it. So, yeah, on my YouTube channel, I present how to are things done, like
mm,
how are some grammar patterns be used. Say for example, when you're asking for directions, how to sound more polite by using indirect questions,
mm,
and some sort of confusions in English. So like, it's more fun, and I
mm.
found it really fun to teach as well. Yeah.
I think it's brilliant. Well, the reason I started my channel is just to, because I knew that if I was going to talk about some of these things, I was going to also be learning the skills.
Right.
Hopefully, I can help some people out there, and hopefully, I can, by teaching it or talking about it, I can also improve. And that's exactly why we're doing this. Well,
Right.
Janet, I have to say thank you so much for joining.
Thank
We
you.
had so many. Do you do an English club? We've got You Are Wonderful,
Thanks.
Uahida, thank you. Daljit said subscribe. Teodoro said thanks. I put your link in there. Janet, it was an absolute pleasure to have you. Everyone, check out her channel. I think
Thank you
she's
so
doing some
much.
amazing things, and she'll just get better. Amjad says, Eric and Janet, I'm a bit late. Have a great day. Everyone, thank you so much. Have a
Thank
fantastic week,
you.
and I'll see you next
Thank you
week.
for having me,
Oh,
Eric.
and check out our Martin's live stream tomorrow. Sorry,
All
Janet.
right. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye bye.